Hello and welcome back to Unlikely Connections. I'm your host, Steph,
And I'm your co-host, Kellin.
and today we're going to be talking about prison love.
Prison love. Not like that, you dirty pervert.
I know, right? Don't get dirty.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get a little dirty.
A little bit.
Oh,
So, from my perspective of correctional officer that saw all these people fall in love with the prisoners, especially high profile prisoners that would come into the jail or into prison.
yeah,
And once that hit, it was wild.
yeah.
And then your perspective of
Yeah, of my personal experiences with where I was groomed by a PRIA representative in a correctional facility that I was in. It was consensual, but because of the power that she had in her position and because of the power I did not have, the argument could be made of he
knew better or
mm,
that you could have said something.
no, I was gonna go the other direction with it, meaning the argument could be made that I didn't have the power to say no, though it was consensual sex. The, things exist, meaning if I knew on some level if I rejected her hard enough, or just period, if I rejected her, then my chances in the justice system, because she knows judges, she knows my probation officers, she talks to my drug court judge, she knows my work release case manager, so there's all these things where if I turn her down, then she's going to be more likely to fuck me over if something goes on. So that's where it's they would say people in a position of power like that, even when consensual.
Because it's technically not two consenting adults at that point, because this is a person of trust
who has
power over you.
Yeah.
Right? This is time that because where are you at in this point of your life? Are you in jail?
So I'm technically a prisoner in a facility that is they would do shakedowns and all the sheriff's officers shit. You're sleeping on jail bunk beds. It's just not at the jail itself. It's a external facility, halfway house.
And for our listeners, a PRIA administrator, what were they?
She was the representative. Yeah.
So that's for Prison Rape Elimination Act.
Yeah.
And that is a high title to have. That's what I had in the prison system when I was there.
Yeah.
I was part of that and the audit team. So I would go into an area kind of like a health and safety person and be like, are you wearing your gloves when you're serving, or are you doing this, washing your hands?
Gotcha.
I had to go through and see what the investigation process was for offenders.
Compliance with the law, kind of. It was your job. Yeah.
So this person would have had essentially the same title.
Yes. Yeah.
That did this to you.
Yes.
Okay.
And it wasn't just me. She was doing it with other, I later found out that she was doing it with other inmates. So we'll get into that a little today. We'll also get into how people end up, creating new relationships, because you have situations where guys and women are in relationships and then of course get in trouble, and then they're incarcerated, and they're managing that relationship through phone calls and letters while incarcerated. But we also have situations where people start new correspondence while being in prisons. When I first was in trouble and was doing county jail time, I had no support system. My family had mostly needed to step away from me, because of how bad my addiction and everything had gotten. I also didn't have a girlfriend, but so I sort of felt a little sorry for myself at first, but over time I would watch these guys who had, specifically not the family stuff, but relationships, romantic relationships. I would watch them go through pure hell, right? Because if you're there long enough, and when I say long enough, depending on the relationship, but sometimes it falls apart. A relationship of 2, 3, 4, 5 years falls apart in 4 to 6 weeks of the person being incarcerated.
Do you think it's because it's hard?
I think it's because it's a super difficult thing. It's expensive to keep in communication. It's also limited. You can't text. You can't, really keep up those smaller things. It's on a strict schedule, So yeah, I think it's because it's difficult to maintain a relationship, especially if the person has not been sentenced yet and they're facing long time, you know.
Right. So, in your experience with the ones that you would meet, how would you meet these girls since you didn't have a girlfriend?
So I would end up meeting them through like a celly. So like this is a real world example for me. My celly was like talking to his girlfriend, and I was probably being like, oh, like, as dudes do, like, she got any friends, sisters, whatever. And he was like, oh yeah, her sister's cute, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like,
You got any single friends,
yeah,
bro?
you got anything, which is the last place you want to be like meeting your girlfriend is through
They're
your
like, I
your
got the perfect
celly.
match
Yeah.
for you.
But I was bored and I
Like
did
a prison, what is it, like a dating site?
like prison dating service. Like, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, what are you looking for?
Yeah,
Fun,
yeah,
bad.
right, right. It was like kind of like that. Not really, actually. It was
Did you
very
know what they
much.
look like?
Nope, I had no idea what she looked like, so I'm going off the word of like him being like she's cute. I'm like, I don't know this guy's tastes, whatever. But we're not. I'm like, well, how am I going to find out? And he's like, well, next time that I talk to my girlfriend, I will have her like invite her sister over, and you're not there's strict limits, as you know, but maybe our listener doesn't know, as to like what you can do in those video calls. Like you're not allowed to have like your celly pop his head in and be like, hey, and the sister or the girlfriend's sister pop in and us take over talking and stuff. And partly my understanding is because the ability to then monitor prisoners becomes more difficult because they're knowing when you're signing up for those video chats who's on each end. And so anything court related, like say my Sally is actually trying to do some like clandestine communicating with his girlfriend, and like I jump in the scene, and I think it makes it more difficult for them, is my guess. So we kind of had to do this thing. He's like, well, just walk by when she, whatever. But the whole thing went to shit because the same
Just
dude,
walk by.
yeah, he's like, walk by in the
You're all
background.
taking out the trash.
Hang
You're all, I'll
out.
take out the trash for you, girl.
Yeah, exactly. It's so fucked up.
You're all lifting weights in the background. You're all like,
Right? Yeah.
what's up?
Yeah. Well, and it's never in the like the video chat units in this particular jail that I'm talking about. We're not in like a convenient area to be like,
Okay.
passing through, like, but you're also making sure you don't get in trouble from the guards, because that's like enough of a, I mean, look, depending on the guard, like they'll jam you up for like tiny shit, but that's enough of a thing that if they really want to jam you up, they can be like, oh, that's this huge violation of like prisoner communications. And I don't know that you would catch a new charge, but they could definitely put you, in some kind of punitive setting, whether it's segregation or take away any kind of privilege you might have, like a visitation or like commissary getting your food, non-prison, non-jail food, whatever. So
So they're going to make you wear orange pants.
yeah,
Like you're going to go on restriction.
yeah, right there you go. Yeah, yeah, change, different uniform, all that. But so that's like one way that happened. That one didn't end up working out. It fizzled out. But I did watch these guys that had girlfriends have a do harder time.
Mhm.
Not all of them. Some of them it was like very like helpful and supportive, but it seemed to be, I would say one in three would find out that their girlfriend was cheating.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah, at least if not half, 30 to 50% of these guys would find out that their girlfriend's cheating while they were in there.
Oh.
You know, and that I watched that, and these dudes would,
And they can't do anything about it. Like they can't investigate it. They can't like look this up. So
yeah,
they're finding out in a letter,
they're finding out
like,
usually through some kind of
or phone.
gossip or confession.
Mhm.
Yeah, like on the phone, the person confesses like, but again, it's like it tends to be similar to the outside world where they hear from some mutual person that knows so and so. So like some other dude in his same pod, let's say, is dating her cousin or, some random
Yeah.
shit like that. And he's like, yo, you better ask your chick, because the word on the streets is that while you're in here, she started cheating or whatever. And these dudes would fall apart, like, because oftentimes that was like their only support system or just a big piece of like what they gave a shit about. You know,
Yeah.
your life is crap. You're in jail. You're
You're
either
just
not,
waiting for that communication from someone else on
yeah,
the outside.
yep, and it just halts all of a sudden. And especially if it was like a 2 or 3 year relationship, and you find out they're cheating, and then it's like, and it's all under their power, meaning you can't call them.
Oh, that's right. I forget this part.
Yeah. So it's like if she's fucking cheating and and you're like, fuck you, bitch, blah, 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 then like good luck, dude. Like, like
Because part of my job was for that, what you were talking about, like who's on video calls,
yeah,
who, like the screening process.
right,
And then also when they would call and say, I don't want them to contact me anymore, I would have to take them off of that list. I'd have to take them off the phone list.
right.
And then the inmate would ask, like, why can't I call blah, blah? And I'm like, they don't want contact.
Wow.
And then they would go through their case manager for more details
Right,
because usually they can give them more.
right.
But in my process, it was just to keep the community safe, I guess. Because like
Yeah.
I kind of felt like the middleman of like a hard breakup.
Yeah, don't kill the
I'm like,
messenger.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry, like they don't want to hang out
Right.
anymore. Like they can't come and play. Like,
Yeah. And I think I said that wrong of like you can't call that's only what you can do. You can call them,
yeah,
right? But like that's it, right? There's no and there's only certain times of day that in the facility that you're in that you're going to be allowed to use the phone, you know.
okay.
And so what I guess I was meaning to say is like it's all the power is all on the person on the outside's hands.
Whether they're gonna answer it, whether they're gonna write. Oh wow.
Exactly. And so if you find out they're cheating and they decide fuck this dude, then they just stop answering your calls, you know. And that's rough to not be able to like have more opportunities to communicate through something like through a occurrence of infidelity, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like boom, it's over. And then maybe next week you have court and you find out that you're getting sentenced to like 2 years in prison. Oh, these dudes would fall apart. And so sometimes I would think,
Mm.
Kellen, it's good that you don't have like a girl on the
Right,
outside.
because then
You
it's like
know,
you want that connection, but then it's like it seems like it can tear you apart, just like in any relationship,
fully.
So, but this is a whole different level because
Hold
it's
it.
not like you could just pick up and move on. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
right.
like you're just gonna start dating again
Some
within
other
that two
chick.
years, right?
Exactly.
Unless you know somebody who's gonna hook you up with their cousin.
Right. And so I've actually had, now that we're talking about this, I'm remembering I've actually had the opposite experience. So I was back in jail and I had met this girl. I was working at IHOP because it was close to the halfway house. And I started dating this girl at IHOP. And so we were maybe like 2 or 3 months into dating. And I knew from just who she was that she was not being faithful. I just knew. And I also didn't have like high expectations, again, just knowing who she was. But one day my cellie is like, he gets off the phone with his chick and he had exactly found out what we were just talking about, that she had been unfaithful. And like, he's like, oh, like all angry about it. He's like, but I love her and I don't want to lose her. And like, actually, I've cheated on her before. And, making all these like justifications of like why he wants to like stay in it. But I had watched him go through the ups and downs with her and it would literally decide his like mood for the day, if not days, if not weeks sometimes, because you just don't have anything to do but think in there. The other
Yeah.
person is out living life, going through the motions, doing whatever. And so I told him one day, I was like, dude, I'm like, look, like trying to create some camaraderie. I'm like, just end it. Just be done with her. Stop calling her, man. Look at what it's
Yeah.
doing to you, right?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I'll stop calling my chick. He's like, why? I thought you guys were chill. And I'm like, I mean, bro, I know she's being unfaithful. I just am not going to get into all that with her because it's a newer relationship, whatever. And so we made like a pact, like not to call our girlfriends. I think it was for 2 weeks or something, right?
2 weeks.
Yeah. We're like, all right, let's do 2 weeks and see how you feel, whatever. A week later, one of the guard calls me over. And like, so this particular jail was in the hometown that I grew up in. And so like, I knew multiple,
Like
at least
correctional officers?
2 correctional officers
Okay.
from like one that I'd gone to high school with, one that I was like best friends with growing up. And that'll be a whole different episode, that guy, because that turned into a whole brush fire situation. And that's going to be like one of our most dramatic episodes because that was fucking insane. But this other dude that I knew was like a grade under me, whatever. So I knew him. We knew whatever. So he calls me. Oh, he happens to be in my pod that day. Like again, like 7 to 9 days after we've made this pact not to call
Yeah.
our
He's like,
girlfriends.
I'm holding on strong.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I was like, it was easier for me. You know, he had been with his chick for a long time and whatever. So it was easier for me. And I had told him that. I'm like, dude, if you need to call her, just call her. He's like, no, I want to stick to the
Good,
facts.
bro.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm like, well, you should, because she's not doing you right, you know, so you shouldn't be giving her the fucking time of day. And this correctional officer calls me over and he says, yo, you need to call your girlfriend. I said, what, bro?
What?
Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking? How do you know? What? Like, I'm blown away.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you
That's a
talking
little
about?
weird.
Yeah, it's a lot weird because there's no reason he should know that I haven't been calling her. And that's, again, to our earlier point in this conversation, they can't call the jail and be like, let me talk to my boyfriend. That's not how that works, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess she had been calling the jail.
Well, that does happen, but I was like,
Okay.
maybe county's different. But yeah, no, we'll have it where the inmate takes you off too.
Oh, yeah, the other way around.
And the other way around. And then we have to tell them in a very nice way, you're not allowed to call.
Yeah, yeah.
Or they're not allowed to call.
Yeah, like,
They
sorry.
don't want to talk.
God, that middleman position again.
It
But yeah.
was.
So it was really weird. And I said, what, dude? Like, how do you know? And he's like, she's been calling, man. Like, you need, like,
Yeah.
annoyingly so. Like, call her and break up with her. Do whatever you need to do. But, like, you should call and
He's like, make her
communicate.
go away.
Yeah.
He's like, it's annoying me.
For sure. She was an annoying chick. For sure. She was like you're at the halfway house. You're lonely.
Mm-hmm.
You want to date somebody kind of scenario. But it was hard, that relationship, because since we're on the relationship episode, because here I was like in the halfway house, like every part of your day, it's no different than doing work release from the jail.
Yeah.
There's some small differences, but meaning you are an inmate who is allowed to be out in the world working, or they let you do, like at the halfway house I was at, like, and the same would have been, so when they gave me work release as a part of my punishment versus straight jail time. And actually how it worked is I had done straight jail time, and like they had court again, and they were like, we'll let you do the rest of this time through work release. And so they gave me the choice. Do you want to do the jail or the halfway house? And I said, well, I'll do the halfway house because it sounds less jaily.
You're like, sounds way better. I can be out with the people.
Yeah, yeah. And
where the people are.
right. And there's upsides and downsides to both. But so I had chosen the halfway house option and the IHOP work and all that, and dated the girl. But I'm still an inmate. So us trying to hang out was like almost impossible, because without me really risking a lot. Like, even if I had an extra hour before like my shift ends at IHOP, her and I want to go hang out for an hour, and instead of me going straight back to the halfway house, that's a violation. That could get me sent back to jail to serve straight time. It could also get me an escape charge. This happened all the time. Dudes would like take that extra hour and like go out in the car and bang their girlfriend and whatever, and like
they're all gotta make it worth it.
Yeah, and they would get in trouble for it, or even less nefarious. They would spend the extra hour just like having a meal with their girlfriend at a location that they're not supposed. You're supposed to be at the halfway house, like the jail essentially, or at your job, or in transportation in between. There is no.
They mean it when they say work release.
Fucking mean it. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. And so these dudes. So you actually, if you're not abiding by that schedule and you are caught, it's called out of location. You can. It's not every time, and I don't know how they decide it, but you can catch an escape charge, and dudes did. They would get an escape charge. Some of these dudes are on suspended sentences of like 5 years of prison, and so and in a way, I was like, man, that's on you. You're taking that risk, knowing that you could essentially be going back for 5 years, and maybe catching more time from an escape charge if they decide to put that on you. So it was a hard relationship to manage. How am I supposed to manage this chick? Once I got out of the halfway house, I was onto a thing that was similar to like an ankle monitor. It's an extension of the halfway house. And so they call it something like home release or something. So you can get an apartment or a house with people. And that's what I did. I got a house with these other, like most of them were other like drug court guys and probation guys criminals,
Yeah.
and I got a bedroom there. Then that meant that, similar to an ankle monitor, I still had to abide by those locations, but one of those locations, instead of being the halfway house, was my own house. And then it was okay. She could come visit me and stuff.
So when you were in the halfway house, did they have any like visitation? Like, or times that people could come and actually see you or see any of you?
Sort of, but those people had to go through a pretty extensive, like, background check and training. So they had to do, the outsider people had to do like a 2-hour course on, like, here's how you hang out with your inmate, like whether it's your son or your husband or boyfriend or
Wow.
whatever. Yeah. And
I would have thought they had like a little community area that did visits.
they did, but you still had to do that shit.
Shit.
Yeah. They didn't, I mean, because it's a correctional facility, but they are liable for you. So if they don't do everything to like train this other person up on like what they're essentially taking on by like hanging out with you,
Mhm.
then I imagine they could be in some legal trouble
Okay.
on the
But
jail
it
side.
seems a little uncomfortable for people to go into this setting too, probably, in my opinion.
100%. And so guys
Because
wouldn't
there's
do
so
it.
many people probably living there.
Mm-hmm.
If it's what I envision, like a little tiny baby jail.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. In an
So that would
apartment
be like, oh,
complex.
okay. So
Yeah.
then, yeah, they're parading around other people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They probably don't feel comfortable.
Right. Yeah. And guys are maybe messing up and getting arrested, or maybe it's a shakedown day and half the fucking sheriff's office is there with dogs and going through all your shit and doing all this. So yeah, so that relationship was tough. And then I fucked up on my probation drug court stuff. And so that's why I was dating her during that period that I was in.
So are you dating this girl when she was a pre-administrator?
Yes,
Same time period?
so different girls though.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is the same time period?
No, this was 2 different times that I ended up in the halfway house.
So you're single when this staff member meets you,
Yeah.
and their job was what in your world?
She was my case manager. So when I got to the halfway house, she was the one that like did the whole breakdown of here's the rules and regulations and how we're going to UA you and how medication works and how abiding by those schedules works and whatever. Each prisoner in the halfway house environment has a case manager, and there was like, I want to say 3 of them, 3 of them, and she was the top dog. She was kind of the top dog at the halfway house. There wasn't really anyone else there more in charge than she was. And so we had this opportunity like to build the affection during those meetings, because I think you had to meet with them like once a week. And then there's other little things where you're like, oh, I have a doctor's appointment. Well, okay, well, you need to come to my office and talk to me about that. Everything is so fucking detailed and above the surface of any kind of like privacy or secrecy or your own life. Your life is
So she knows
there.
everything about your life.
Everything.
She knows from the inside and out.
Yes. Yeah.
So she can really mess with your mind if she wanted to.
Well, dude, and she kind of did, like,
Right.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Like, I would go in and she'd be playing like sexy ass R&B songs on her like little office speakers or whatever, and I was like,
let's get it on.
yeah,
Oh, sorry, let me turn that off real quick.
right.
Or should I leave it on?
Or so,
I'm
well,
just
not
kidding.
even though, like, it was even more subtle where it was like, I was like, oh yeah, I like that, because you don't get a lot of opportunity to listen to music. That's actually less true when you're in the halfway house, because then you can have like headphones or something like that. But I didn't yet because I was indigent.
So she's playing this
Yeah.
sexy like
Sexy music. Yeah, when I come in, I'm like, okay, whatever. Maybe
Candles.
yeah.
and you're like, this is normal.
Lingerie.
Well,
Yeah. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, she's kind of cute and
is she married?
married
Always are.
and
Kids?
no kids.
Okay.
No kids, but she was married, and she would like slowly but surely let me do stuff that I wasn't supposed to be doing. Meaning, one of the times I was in her office, you have to earn the right to have a cell phone when you're on work release. At this, I don't know. I think it's the same. Also true if you're doing your work release through the jail, but you had to earn it, and by being compliant for all your stuff for like a certain amount of time, and then it was a privilege. You had to like apply to be able allowed to have a cell phone. You had to give them your number and the carrier, like T-Mobile, Sprint, whatever. You had to like give them all the information to be able to be listening to your conversations and shit. Because you're a prisoner still. You're still. It's a weird.
So they're
world.
still monitoring your phone calls and stuff.
Yeah, I mean they didn't come out right and say that, but all the information
damn.
that they needed, I'm like, why do you need all that?
You're all, what the hell? Why do you need to know which phone it is?
Yeah, oh, everything, yeah. And so they're definitely still monitoring and probably legally allowed to do so because you're an inmate. You know, it's a weird world being like half in, half out like that.
That seems weird. It seems hard to differentiate between like the people that are supposed to be taking care of you and not seeing them as a peer.
Right. Yeah.
In my opinion, because like she's over there like giving you all these options, giving you all this, making sure you have all this built up just to
while simultaneously, well, I mean, I don't know if it was as malicious or nefarious as that. I think she was just a bit of like a horny hoe, like, you know?
Shout out to the law.
And she was okay looking. And so I was like, all right, yeah, like, I'll let this girl flip me up. So I'm in her office one day and my phone goes off. Well, I'm not allowed to have a phone yet. And I'm like, fuck, like that alone, that little thing, having a phone when I'm not supposed to could have gotten me kicked off of my probation and sentenced to straight time. It could have gotten me charged with introduction of contraband. You know, like it could have really fucked me.
Yeah.
And so I shit my pants when my phone went off. I'm like, fuck. Even though I knew she was like being nice to me and somewhat like flirty and thirsty, like I was like, oh fuck. But she's like kind of made a face like, is that a phone I just heard? You know? And like, I was like, I go, no? Like, question, you know, no?
Silent it.
And she's like, okay, good. It better not be. And let me keep it and didn't jam me up and all that. And so then it starts being from there. That was kind of like the first moment I realized, like, oh, this girl might be trying to fuck.
Took you a minute to get there.
I just didn't know if she was like in a power position of just like treating all the prisoners like that, you know, like in this powerful, like
being like toting the line, like a little bit can go, but not taking it all the way there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. It's fair.
Yeah. And then like there was another time she came into, so slowly but surely, and I would be interested to hear if it was similar on your side, slowly but surely, like little things are being allowed that are not allowed, you know, and the boundaries of the RIA representative fucking top dog case manager at this correctional facility, like, and me on the other side being the prisoner, right? Those boundaries are starting to like, not even really, I guess blur a little bit or like come into question. There was another, and so example of that I'll give is like, she came into my room one day and which was not a, you know, so they do what are called, it's kind of like a count, like making sure they have all their prisoners that they're supposed to. And they go through and they see like who's supposed to be at their job and whatever. And they do their count. You're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be there. And they do that once an hour, even at night. And so she comes in one day to like talk to me about some like trivial fucking something about my probation officer wanted to know this or that. And I was shirtless, which we were not allowed to be shirtless in our little apartments, 8-man shoved into a 2-bedroom apartment with the jail bunks and all this, whatever. Like, it's the reason I say all that about like the environment is because there was also like a little miniature kitchen type thing. So it's like what I said, Laura. It's like you're half in, half out. Like having your shirt off could be a same thing of like, okay, you just violated the rules, you know, and now you're going back, or now, you know, that was more lower on the levels of like having the phone was a big deal.
Yeah.
Having your shirt, like I could have put it on real quick and be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was
changing.
Yeah. You know, but I didn't put it on real quick. I just was like stood there and talked to her for like 20 minutes with my shirt off. And so like, and she said nothing about it, you know. And I'm like, and like kind of was like, you know, eyeing me up and shit. So I'm like, So it's like slowly but
Y'all
surely,
flexing.
yeah, for real. And then slowly but surely, you know, it turned into, oh, like she waited until I was out of the halfway house itself, and I was on to the like ankle monitor thing that I was talking about, house release, I think maybe they call it at the halfway house. When you transition, it's all about like earning these transitions and earning your freedom and your way out of it. And so she waited until I was on that part of it, but still, she had that power and those connections to the judge,
Okay.
you know, the probation officer. You know, if I ever ended up back in there, she would have been probably my case manager and definitely in charge of my case manager. If not, you know, all these things. So she waited until then, to be like, she goes, my husband and I have an open relationship.
Oh,
Yeah. I was
wow.
like, oh, all right. And she's like,
Okay, she put it out there.
oh, hell yeah. She wasn't being timid.
Shit.
You know, she kind of had this like power trip going on about it, I think, you know, where she's like, I'm not going to get rejected by one of these fucking, you know, beneath me people, you
Wow.
know.
Did you reject her?
So, fuck no. I was like, I was like so desperate at the time, you know?
I like that you said desperate at the time
Yeah.
because it's like, I've always thought, like, why did correction officers or anything like that do something and bring something in or like an inmate like that? I never understood that because it's like you have freedom. You could go do whatever you want.
Mm.
And just by you saying that she knew she wasn't going to get rejected,
Yeah.
that's fucking twisted, bro.
Yeah.
Like on a whole different level of like victimization. Like it's gross.
It's power. It's power, abusive power.
That's so gross.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I agree.
And that fizzled out and you left it alone.
Yeah, like it didn't really. I'm trying to think of like how it went, because I did well enough to like get off of being in trouble, and so then there was that dynamic went away. Then
Because she couldn't
yeah,
be over you with that
yeah.
power.
So then if she would have hit me up and
Mhm.
I was like, nah, bitch, fuck off, like she can't do anything, you know. But again,
Did you feel like you had to talk to her because you were still on paper like that?
oh fuck yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I
Because
felt
she
like,
had all those connections?
yeah, I
Wow.
felt like I at least had to like respond and
Or
like be
engaged.
nice and engage and like flirt and like you know, yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Did it make you feel weird? Like, because you are being victimized.
You know,
Not to the point of like physically, but mentally.
oh yeah, no, I agree, I agree.
I don't know if you see it like that, but
I do now. See, so like now I would feel weird. Then I was, are you familiar with the term like internalized misogyny?
mm-mm.
So that's when like the misogyny of our culture and like, oh, men are better and smarter and mansplaining stuff is internalized by by a woman to like in her mindset. Like she internalizes those concepts of misogyny and like validates them, like agrees with them,
Okay.
right? And like to the extent of like also seeing herself as less than. The reason I bring that up is because there was kind of, to your point, like, did you feel icky at that time? I had like internalized myself as like the grimy prisoner, underneath person, like addict, shitty, inferior, whatever. And so I had internalized that mindset that she certainly had while holding that power and doing this with myself and later to find out other inmates. Like I had that going on. Now that I don't think that way or feel that way,
Mhm.
but then I was so beaten down by it all. I mean, and you constantly get this reinforcement that you are that. Like at your therapy appointments, like, which is fucked up, right? Like they're supposed to be helping you, but
Right.
in a big way, they're just validating through the language and the way and the exercises and the ways that they therapy you. Again, in hindsight, I'm like, oh my God, like so much of that was just validating or making sure I knew that every single bit of what was going on was because I was a broken, flawed, fucked up piece of shit, junkie, blah.
And
Right.
this is what you deserved,
And this is,
essentially. Like,
yeah,
or this is what you get,
this is what
kind of thing.
definitely what you deserved. Like
Okay.
get better, get healed, and like whatever, and then you might not deserve this kind of thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I didn't at the time feel weird. I sadly saw it as like a win.
Yeah,
You
it has to
know?
be.
Well,
Because at least where I came from is that it was a big notoriety for somebody that turned a cop or
right,
turned a staff member.
right.
Like that would get you a nice little tattoo.
Well, yeah,
Like everybody knows.
yeah,
And you go around the prison system being known as that.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And
right.
I can see where that like head inflamed would come in because you're really sought after,
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Right.
By even if it's just one person, they're giving you all that attention. They're giving you all that like feeding you
Special treatment,
special
right? I'm
treatment,
allowed to
right?
have. I'm getting away with shit
Right. Which is
because
grooming 101.
100%. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And on top of that, you're indigent, you said.
Mm-hmm.
So for the listeners out there, indigent is saying you don't have money to pay for things while you're incarcerated.
Yeah,
And so knowing that she could throw you a couple candy bars or she could give you a cheeseburger and you'd be like, I'm the shit.
yeah. And she was rich too, so that was the other thing in my like state of life at that
And
point.
she's like elevated.
Uh huh.
She's a pre-administrator.
Yeah,
So now she's rich and educated.
yeah. And powerful over me and all these things. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was kind of like, oh, like I never was thinking, oh, like I'm gonna steal her from her husband, partly because I didn't feel that way about her.
Well, I'm sure it's not for love.
Exactly. And I wasn't, there was not, yeah. It was sexual in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was dating like after all that?
After
So
the,
you're done with all your stuff.
well, I mean, I
Is it hard to
found,
trust people because you had these experiences?
that's a good question. It was more hard to like shake that internalized sense of like shittiness. It was hard to trust myself. You
Yeah.
know, like, well, because I had, when you come from that many years of addiction and that many encounters with the law and the homelessness and like collectively, I was like, damn, I ended up doing and being all this person that I wasn't, not in my core for so long that I started, that I didn't trust myself. I'm like, how did I let all that happen? You know, and now I'm more educated on like, it wasn't like I let it all happen. There's a lot of other forces at play, especially with my case involving like overprescribing by the doctor and him getting
Hmm.
indicted and all that. So, but let me answer your question. Was it hard to trust people? Not necessarily in dating. What was, what was difficult was value, seeing myself as having value enough to like to contribute to like a date almost, you know, like
Sure.
there's this huge, because there's this huge like identity that I was for 15 I mean the first like 7 years, it's hard to quantify these things, but like the first 4 to 7 years was more like fun and partying, and I was still a drug dealer, so I had money. Like the first, yeah, 7-ish years of my addiction, like I was doing well. I was kind of like the shit, if you will. You know,
Yeah.
I had the drugs, but I also had the money and hadn't ruined my life yet, and had jobs and had lived in a nice apartment or nice house and all these things, right? But like the back half, the last 8 years, again, quantifying it that way and saying it started at year 8 is tough. But just for the sake of conversation, the back half, those 8 years, that identity was not me. You know, how I treated people, the people I hurt, like closest to me and that I loved most, how I treated myself, like how I ended up homeless, all the shit, like was not me. So there's this identity thing. I want to date, but do I want to date? So dating since then, even to this day, has been quite difficult. I had a personal situation where, like, after all this, I had gone back to using. Um, and so this would have been like year 13 or something, or 14, 13 or 14 of my opioid addiction. And, but because of all the time that I had and attempts that I had made through the court systems and getting sober, whatever, I was able to like convince most of the people around me, like my immediate family, that I was not using any longer. And myself, to, not myself, because I knew I was using, but like I had fixed enough to like be a functioning addict at that point again. And
Okay.
so I was working at this restaurant and I found out that this girl was into me and we started dating. She was the opposite. Like she was a good chick. Like she'd never done, I mean, she had smoked weed and maybe drank, you know.
Hmm.
But she had really never done anything bad like that. Um, we were opposites in a lot of ways, right? And she learned very quickly, if she didn't already know, that I was like a heroin addict and that I was a, you know, um, yeah. And so it was the wildest
Did she know that because you told her, or because like just word of mouth,
gossip and shit.
gossip?
She knew that because I told her. She knew something was up.
Okay, so it was a controlled setting of her knowing
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
So she knew you before she knew that you were a recovering addict.
Yeah, because we were working together.
So she's seeing who you are as a person.
There you go. And maybe that was what it was. She saw like, well, he's like these things that I like, and
Yeah.
he's kind or funny and sweet to me, and he works hard and shows up and does all these things, which were true.
Hmm.
But I just also simultaneously had very late stage opiate addiction. When I say late stage, meaning like I was really trying and succeeding at not being in that life, quote unquote. But I was still using, to not
And hiding it from your
and
family.
hiding it from my family, my employer, just everybody, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and
How
so
long did you do that for?
that
Like,
was probably about a year and a half. So I'd had like 10 months of sobriety through like drug courts and stuff like this, had a relapse that essentially lasted a year and a half, right?
okay.
And so that was during the period when I started dating the girl. And that was amazing. It was also during COVID times. And so we were sort of insulated from the world to a degree. She didn't, and she wasn't from here, so she didn't have a whole lot of social group, whatever. And when it got like a few months into it, she said to me, like, I said to her actually, like, I think I like you,
Yeah. No, I think I like
yeah. And she
you.
was like, okay, well, you got to deal with the fucking heroin addiction, homie. Like,
Oh, because she knows you like that raw.
oh yeah, at that
Okay,
point,
so
yeah.
you're hiding it from everyone but her.
Uh-huh. Which was
Okay.
a heavy weight to put on her, like in
That is.
hindsight. Yeah.
Especially if she has feeling for you.
Oh, she did, yeah. And so
Because then she's rooting you on and hoping that you're going to get it.
while simultaneously scared to death, she told me outright, she's like, I'm so scared to like let myself fall in love with you. Like
Yeah.
you are coming from a fucked up place. I know you're
Yeah.
not that person anymore, but you're also not quite right. You got to do something about this. And so that was actually the impetus to my now 5 years. I just 2 days ago or something. Had 5 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
5 years sober, baby.
Yeah, but it was
Yes.
weird, right? Because I'm dating this girl who's not at all that, and 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 so she gives me this ultimatum basically, like if you want to tell me you have feelings for me, and what you're saying is like you want to continue this, I need you to do something about it. And that's
Fair.
and I had made so many attempts to get sober, so many. I mean,
And I'm assuming that getting sober, you can't do that for someone.
no, but
Like, it could be a motivation.
it was a big motivation.
Oh,
It was a
good.
big motivation because she was someone
Good.
for the first time in like, fuck, 7 years or something that like had like loved me for like, I don't know, who saw me. She's like, I love you.
The
And
good and the bad.
well, the good and the bad, but also it's like, it, most importantly, the good, like meaning she saw that part of me. For so many of those last 8 years, nobody, including the people closest to me, could see like the good in me. And my mom and sister, and like for sure. But like, yeah. And so that, to your point of like motivation to quit, you can't quit for somebody. No. And like having someone see that you have value and that you're not this thing that you've been for so long was a huge deal. I was willing to go to any length to like get sober, to get out of that lifestyle and to give myself a chance to like see where this relationship goes. And so 1 year into it, so she dated me for 1 year while I was still like an intravenous heroin addict. Um, and then and I started trying to quit like 6 months into it. So for 6 months, she was like patient through my attempts to quit and all those things.
Wow.
And yeah, and so that was my first experience dating since then, but it happened mid relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like my sobriety. And things improved, like things were great. Our reason for breaking up didn't really have much of anything at all to do with my drug history or use, because she was okay with it enough to start dating me. And we dated for 2.5 years. So by 1 year in, I had quit. And so by a year and a half, when that point hit, we just had regular people relationship problems, infidelity or whatever, like things
Yeah.
that, and so that's what ended it. Since then, trying to date, which I feel like is a better example to answer your question with. Since then, what is dating like? It's fucking horrific, dude.
Mm.
It's fucking horrific because I go on these dates, like I'll get, I'm whatever, able to get a number or whatever and go on a first date, we have a good, this has probably happened a dozen times in the last like 2 years, maybe three, where I'll get a number, we go on a date, we have a great time,
Mm-hmm.
and sometime in the date, it becomes very clear, because that span of 15 years was like half of my 20s and most of my 30s.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to be honest, and I'm just not a liar. That's one of the ways that I've stayed sober, is by radical honesty. Anna Lemke talks about it in her book Dopamine Nation, how important radical honesty is to quitting, to being sober with anything. Um, and so it's almost impossible to not like somewhat bridge that gap of like, bro, what? I either come off like I'm trying to be real vague and mysterious and hiding something,
Mm-hmm.
or I have to tell them a little bit of the truth. Inevitably, what happened? So I tell them, look, I had like this like addiction. I've been sober for years now. I'm fine. It's not a concern.
Mm-hmm.
I can be around people drinking things like this. That's not, because people think that they're like, oh, can you not go to a party and be around alcohol? No, alcohol is not my problem.
Alcohol's not the issue, bro.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not into alcohol, but it's also not the problem. And so I end up telling them, depending on how comfortable I am with this person on the first date, a little bit of my story, to make sure they know that I'm not hiding something or lying about something or being weird or whatever. And inevitably, they will say like, oh, like, okay, like, I had a great time. Like, I want to see you again. And then I'll inevitably get a text that says, I just don't want to take that on. I'm proud of you, but I don't want to take that on, or, some kind of excuse. And the theory I've come up with, and I think it's pretty accurate, is that most women will talk to, guys do it some, but women do it a lot more. They will talk to their sister, their friends, their family, whoever is in their sphere about like everything, but especially about like
Oh,
dates.
dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like, I can verify.
100%.
Yeah. And so they're going
Yeah.
to tell.
We know each other's dating histories for sure.
Right. And like, yeah, almost immediately. Right. And so my theory is that they're then going and saying, oh, I met this, not to like toot my own, what? I met this great guy. We had a great time. He's awesome. Oh, he has this thing, and that the person, whether it's the mom, the sister, the friend, the coworker, whoever, or multiples of those people say, don't date him. He's got what? He's got felonies. He was an addict for 15 years. Like, girl, I don't, because they aren't there to like experience me in person, to see the changes that have happened, to see who and how I am now. And so the person she's sharing this information with, the mom, the sister, whoever, whatever, is looking basically like at me on paper, and me on paper, because I lost half my 20s, most of my 30s. My career's not like in place, so they're looking at, oh, he's like doesn't make a ton of money and he has all this going on. On paper, I'm a fucking criminal. I'm a drug
You're a
addict. I'm
felon
a
on paper,
felon.
right?
I'm like,
Which is
yeah.
going to make things so hard for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So dating has been fucking horrific, dude. And like, um, I hate it.
Is it? And I guess, like you said, they haven't given you that chance of like getting to know you, because even the time that we got to know each other, you're very open with me.
Mm-hmm.
You might have done softer kid gloves with it, right? Like, you know what I mean? But like saying that you're sober for 5 years is huge.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get that they don't want to take that on or whatever that implies.
I know. Like, what do you mean?
Because essentially or even my stuff I have, right? Like I have horrible depression at times, and that's not my partner's stuff to carry,
Yeah.
right? Like it can get dark. It can get real fucking dark up here. Like I hate being up here sometimes. This is a bad neighborhood, sometimes.
Bad neighborhood.
And it's like that's not anyone's burden and journey.
Right.
Right? It's about who you are now.
Yeah.
What you bring to the relationship.
Yeah.
And it's not fair.
It doesn't feel fair, but I also saw
Because you went from like these people seeking you out now.
Yeah.
And grooming you.
Right.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And you're the shit. So you're selling shit. You're a drug dealer. Right?
Yeah.
Like you have a nice apartment. You have all this shit. And then boom, you're incarcerated.
Yeah.
And then they're taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
And now you still think you're the shit. Like, I got this.
Right. Yeah.
And then you get out of all of that. You do everything you're supposed to do. And you're being punished, essentially.
I feel that way. I mean, yeah. I also have I've never had amazing fucking self-esteem, but that's different than confidence,
Yeah.
Like there's this piece of me that's very forgiving. I'm like, no, yeah, I get it. Yeah, you probably shouldn't, kind of like, oh yeah, you're right. I suck, kind of thing. Even though that's not what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's how it feels. And it's been so constant and so cookie cutter the same every time that I'm like, damn, dude, maybe all the things that suck about dating in modern times also exist for me, right? Meaning the disconnect that we have, some of the shallowness that goes on with people oh, you're not rich, especially in where we are. You feel like being a gold digger or being someone who's openly, shamelessly I want a rich dude has come more into fashion than it used to be?
I don't know. I was thinking about this last night. So I was watching this show that had this person on a yacht and their significant other sent them on it, and their age difference is huge, right?
Okay, yeah.
I'm like, so that came to my head. I'm like, so are you just doing this because of the lifestyle that they could give you? Because in reality, they're never with that person. They're always traveling on their own, at least in the show.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, maybe that is some truth to that people are more like, my worth has to be valued actually in dollars.
Yeah.
Instead of my worth is how my partner treats me, shows up for me, advocates for me, is there through the shit.
Yeah.
Not just throwing me some money. Because don't get me wrong, I'd love some money. I'd love some shit thrown at me every now and I'd love to be on that yacht.
Sure.
Fucking chilling.
Right.
Take 12 of my closest friends. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's all paid for.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't work a day in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Sounds phenomenal.
Yeah.
Is that the reality? No, I want somebody that truly is there, that shows up, never gives up.
Yeah.
Within reason of their own boundaries. So if they know that they can't take that on because emotionally they can't show up for you,
right,
that's respect.
Yeah.
That's respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're not giving you this fluff of you know what, I'm going to try. And then 3-4 years later and be like, I can't do this.
Yeah. I see that. But I also feel I'm just give me the chance to you know what I mean? I don't plan on staying fucking broke and whatever. And I'm not that broke. Let's be clear.
Let's be real, dude. You ain't that broke.
I'm not that broke. I can pay
You're
for
being
dates.
honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being a little modest. I could, and that's,
He's not going to ask you to split the bill,
No,
guys,
no.
unless that's your thing.
Yeah, right. Not at all. And that's what makes it even more frustrating is I'm like, oh my God, I'll pay for some dates. I'll even maybe pay for a Mexico vacation kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can afford my own apartment. There's stuff that I'm I feel like my standard is not boom up here, but I'm also not a fucking loser who's let me borrow money and shit like this at all.
Right.
And so it ends up bringing me back to this feeling of why aren't you giving me a chance then? Then it seems why you're not giving me a chance is because your judgment around my past is being translated through friends and family and whatever. Or all 15 of these dates, these women, whatever, were super good actresses and amazing at pretending to have a great time and have things in common and good conversation and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a connection. And that's bullshit. That's not what it is,
I think that would be hard. I think that essentially you are putting on your best front
Mm,
on a first couple dates. But I think as honest as you are, I think you could read people pretty well.
mm-hmm.
And I think you could check that vibe a little bit. But I do think a lot has to do with when they tell their family
Yeah.
or their loved ones.
Yes.
Because even when I was dating somebody, not even this particular case, like at all, they would tell me how they felt about that person, whether it was whatever,
Yeah.
looks, income, life. Like
Right.
it was weird. And it's
Right.
like, I never value people at that level. Like, I want you to pay for your shit. Like,
Yeah.
I want you to be an adult.
Right.
I don't want to have to worry about your stuff and mine, but we're together. We're cool. We could do this together.
Yeah.
But it's, I've never looked at people like that, but I know that that's how my girlfriends are a lot.
Right.
Nothing towards them,
Yeah.
but it is very much a whole picture looking at it of saying, like, what is my life going to be?
Yeah.
Like, essentially, because am I going to be living where I want? Am I going to have the family I want? Is this person capable of giving me that? And you're taking that gamble on with what you know at that time.
Yes.
And I hate it, but it is fair if they say they can't do it with you at that point, which is, it's completely fair to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think even just society pushes people out that has been an addict or is in recovery or has this similar story,
Yeah.
felony,
Yeah.
especially felonies.
Yeah.
Like they have this persona of you that that's who you are, that's what you'll do, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And in reality, we have all done something that is illegal
Yeah.
in some shape or form, whether it's the smallest thing in the world. Nobody is squeaky clean.
Right.
No one.
Right.
And it's like, what is it? Because even in my head, I had that where it's like, oh, you should be careful on somebody who is an addict. But then this was a long time ago. And I never understood why, because I grew up with so many family members that were addicted or alcoholics. And it was like, oh, you just knew Uncle blah, blah, blah was coming and he's going to be a little
Hide your
twisted. Hide your
purses.
purse.
Yeah.
Move your prescriptions.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. And that's horrible to have to live your life like that too. Your space is taken out.
Right.
And I think as society that we have this stigma on people that are in recovery or an addict as damaged.
Yeah. And
I use air quotes because they're not damaged.
Right.
But it's like, okay, we had a story.
Yeah. I think to be fair too, like part of my reaction to all of it, and maybe what I was trying to say earlier, is that it's also very true that many, many, many of those people do not change. They don't. I mean, the rule is that they don't change. The exception is someone like me
Do you
or
know the percentage?
oh
Or like
god.
roughly?
I
Is
mean,
it high?
I know it for opioids. There's an 80% relapse, and that's
For
actually
life?
for life, and that's actually low. Like the way that I won't get into all the like study
Yeah.
details, but the way that they take those surveys and create those studies and etc., that's actually low. It's closer to 9 out of 10 people like will relapse, which is why medication assisted treatment, your Suboxones, your methadones, are the gold standard for recovery from OUD, opioid use disorder. That is why. Because there was all this abstinence based, like, or even just like, other basis for like how they would treat other addictions and things like that, that even with other addictions have been shown to be so fucking flawed. But when you are looking at opiates and opiate addiction, true, because you can become like opioid dependent, you can kind of be like teetering on the edge of opioid addiction even after like a year or something. Like there used to actually be a law that you could not get on methadone, which is a medication assisted treatment for opioid use disorder, for opioid addicts. The law used to say you could not do it unless you were an opioid addict for at least a year.
So, oh, wow.
Yeah, they would be like, look, if you're having issues, you're 6 months in, this is not for you. This is for people who are certified. So for like I don't know how you certify someone, but you know what I mean? For like
certified drug user,
yeah.
Not a drug user. Right. Okay, get out of here.
Yeah. So that's to your question. Like people don't tend to get better from that specific thing. And I would even argue like
It's wild to even see you because, like, if I didn't know this about you, I would never know.
That's what a lot of people say, yeah.
You never know.
And that's part of the other frustration for me. I am pretty established in the change that I've made has been shown to be the new normal. It's not a change. It's my new like normal.
Essentially, who you were before that is now evolving.
Even better than who I was
Right.
before that. Yeah.
Right.
And so that's one of the frustrations. I'm like, dude, take on what? I'm not ready to take that on, or I'm super impressed with you, but I just don't know if we're a good fit. This stuff. I'm like, okay, well, that's why you get to know someone and find out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing is I
Because
don't.
addiction can hit you at any time.
Yeah.
Like average Joe, right?
Mm-hmm. For
I would
sure.
assume.
Well, especially with opioids, because like you had the whole doctors being involved situation in the world and in the medical system. If you're not super educated on that, like pick an opioid documentary and watch it. Like they will teach you how, I mean, some of the numbers, and I'm totally making these up, but they will give an idea because it's not far off from this of the peak of opioid prescribing, like let's say 2013, 2015, stuff like this, was that there was enough opioids being prescribed, strong opioids like oxys, for each individual in the United States to have like 5 a day.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was, yeah.
Well, I just watched a documentary on pill farms. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but yeah, I guess I have no idea about the world sometimes. Wow, it's right there in your neighborhood. You have no idea that these look and function like a medical facility with a doctor, and they would go and they would just overprescribe.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. And now they wonder why there's so many regulations and why we can only get like 5 pills when you have major surgery.
Yeah. That's
It's
fine.
like, oh, you had major reconstruction back surgery, you get 3 painkillers.
Yeah,
Hopefully that lasts.
yeah.
And then we'll get you on Tylenol.
Right.
It's all,
Yeah.
I'm all time out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, scream pain. I need help.
Well, and that's the fucked up thing. One of the fucked up things too is that like the overcorrection in forms of like regulations and things like this has gone so far that people who actually need the pain medications, doctors still don't face accountability. There was just a case. The medical board tends to be who handles the discipline regarding their license, their ability to practice medicine. They were taking 3.5 years to investigate it. That's insane. And meanwhile, that doctor is allowed to continue practicing. Those medical boards are all doctors. So it's like police policing police. It's doctors policing.
It's the PREA administer.
Right. Enforcing the PREA rules.
Enforcing the rule.
While she
and
rapes inmates.
Yeah. Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So what about the prison environment? How often is it happening that they're like falling in love / the correctional officer is falling in love with them? Is it frequent?
Oh, yeah. They know somebody who knows somebody, a cousin, just like you said.
Yeah.
And then they start being pen pals,
Okay.
fall in love like that. Or they have somebody when they come in. But as for the correctional officers, they would go and start off small. So they would groom just on the opposite side, kind of like what happened with you.
Okay.
The inmates would see how much they could get away with specific ones. And it tended to always be the one that was like always on, that was like a model cop, like a model always on time, unit's always good. Like it's usually the MO on that.
Okay.
And it's probably because they have the inmates doing everything for them, so everything looks all great.
Yeah.
Because they were making these deals or whatever the fuck. But in this particular case, this woman, we're at a level 5, which is extremely hard to do anything with an inmate by yourself because of the level of custody.
Okay.
So you always have somebody with you. Whether they're at the door with you, that's different. So you'll be in the same day hall,
Okay.
doing a count or a round, and one would be checking the top tier while the other one's checking the bottom, and then they swap.
Okay.
And then check, and then go to the next pod, do the same thing. And they do that every half hour. So in that time, these inmates see the same person over and over and see who lets little things go, little whatever, blah, blah, blah. It could be a guy, a girl, it doesn't matter. And then they start grooming. Can I get an extra pen? Can I get a roll-off? Can I get a cookie? Can I get an extra tray? And then it just keeps going to where this girl, she was so blindly in love that she thought that this guy was going to get out and marry her, take care of her and her kid.
The girl being a correctional officer.
Was a correction officer.
Oh, okay.
So she's doing these rounds and she's working in the RH unit, which is a restricted housing unit. So these guys would only be there for a max of 3 days, unless they were pending investigation for something else.
Oh.
So they were constantly being filtered out of this specific section that she worked.
Okay.
And this inmate is doing life.
Okay.
Okay. So no chance of this life where he's going to get out and he's going to take care of you and your kid.
Yeah.
Because he's doing life.
Yeah.
And yes, he has pills, he could do all that, but whatever. So she comes in one day and she has this ring. And it's not uncommon for people to fall in love with somebody quickly, whatever. And she has this ring and she's just like, oh, my best friend got it for me. It's the best. And we're like, okay, cool. But it was so weird because she would only really talk about it when we would be doing rounds or when we would be in the specific section. Right? So it was always when inmates around.
Okay.
And it's weird because you're never supposed to talk about personal shit when you're around the inmates.
Right.
Like not what you're doing your weekend, not your spouses, your kids' names, never.
Yeah.
Right? For security shit.
Yeah.
Well, she would be like, oh, look at this ring. Look at this ring. And everybody was like, this is weird. So then it gets reported. And so they start looking into it. This dumb bitch was using her 11-year-old daughter's phone to put on the inmates list to call, which we record these conversations.
Yeah.
This dumbass goes and calls off of work. And then the inmate's like, I noticed you were off. Why are you off? Right? So saying little things, not saying her name. You wouldn't really be able to tell that it was her voice.
Okay.
It sounded like she was kind of changing it or trying to change it or sound higher pitched than what she was.
Okay.
So they start looking into her phone calls. We're listening to them, and it's clear as day. Like, he's talking about a schedule, but vaguely. He's talking about the pod and that you smell so nice, vaguely, of course.
Yeah.
And then he brings up the ring. And he's like, that's a beautiful ring. And she's like, thanks. And just says it like that on the phone. And he's like, I love when you wear it. And so then that made it to where it was like, find out if he sent anything out. If he's mailed anything out. Because everything's tracked.
Got it.
Everything.
Okay.
That an inmate does.
Right.
And I'll say this to everybody in the world.
Yeah.
Everything you do in prison is tracked and traceable.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Not just phone calls.
Yeah.
So they go back and look into his JPays and see what's going on. So he sends something to his mom. And then that was sent to the correctional officer's house, which was tracked, right? And she was claiming that her best friend gave it to her.
How did he get a ring in prison to send?
He contacted his mom.
Oh, she...
To send the ring to her.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But, like, it's always a third party.
Always, yeah.
Right? And so when that happened, we call her into the office. There's so much evidence, like, against her.
Right.
And she comes in, and she would come in with, like, this stance, like, I fucking run this pod. I'm the fucking shit, you know? And she comes in, and it's me and the investigator. We're sitting there. And we're like, we need to talk to you about some stuff. And she's like, oh, yeah, what's going on? Because she would have complaints on her a lot. So she would be called into the office to clear out some investigations a lot.
Okay.
You know, and a lot of them were unsubstantiated.
Okay.
So I think she probably thought it was going to be like that.
Right.
And so she's sitting there, and the OIG guy was like, hey, I have a question. Can you tell me who this sounds like? And he turns on the fucking audio of their phone call.
Oh, shit.
And you see her visually, like, sitting still, so tall. And she's like, slumps into her chair, right? And so she's listening to a little bit of it. And then the ring part comes up. She's wearing the fucking ring. The fucking color of the order form, like, of where it was going, everything. And it was like, so what phone are you using? Since, you know, don't fucking play games. Tell us the truth right now.
Yeah.
Let's go. How far? How deep? What's going on with this?
Yeah.
And so she starts word vomiting. We're using my daughter's phone. I'm in love. We've never done anything sexually. I want to make sure of that. Like, that's what she wanted to keep saying. Like, nothing happened sexually.
Okay.
She was putting money away because they were going to move and be together.
Was she emphasizing the sexual part because that would have leveled up charges or something.
That would make her a sex offender.
Okay, yeah.
And so she's like, no, dude, I wasn't doing anything like that. I didn't bring him anything in. Like, she's really pushing this whole thing.
Yeah.
She's just in love.
And she thought they were going to live together.
And she thought that he was going to...
But he was a lifer.
He's a lifer.
So
yes, he has pills.
So she dumb.
And the fact that she would use her daughter's phone, because again, the inmates can only call you.
Yeah.
So the daughter was the initial of the phone.
Yeah.
Unless she knew exactly when he was going to call.
Right.
It was usually her accepting it.
Right.
And you would hear the higher pitch of the daughter.
Oh, hell no.
Which is fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
She's a child.
Right. And you're having this guy whose charges, what were his charges? Do you remember?
He was in for murder.
Okay. So
I'm like,
you're like having your 11-year-old pick up the murderer's phone call?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, I wish I could say that was the only one I have.
Was she married, this woman?
No.
Okay.
No, but she was with everybody.
Okay.
And
yeah, she a hoe.
She was a hoe. She's a hoe. A show.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's so weird because, like, they put this story in their head, and like you were saying, like, she had that power over you.
Mm.
But in the other way of, like, that person's mind, like, she thought that they were going to end up together.
Wow.
Like, you could see her, like, she didn't give a shit she was losing her job. She didn't give a shit, like, about anything that you think that you would care about at that point.
Yeah.
She was just like, we're in love and we're going to be together. And so many of them would say that.
Wow.
So fucking many of them would say that.
Wow.
And it's like, you're putting money away for these guys. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, people deserve love and shit, but you are in a position of trust.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, that's disgusting on another level.
Yeah, for sure.
Of, like, gross.
Yeah. And how unable are you to carry a normal relationship if you're having to resort to that kind of shit?
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, I don't know if it's the let me save you because you're broken or the sneakiness of it.
Yeah.
Because it didn't matter. The girls could be beautiful. They could be not attractive.
Yeah.
They could be, it didn't matter. They could be a guy.
Right.
And it would happen.
Okay.
Not just always sexual. Like,
right.
They would turn a cop. Like,
wow.
And it would happen so quickly. And they would be so engulfed with that person that you're just like, you can't hide it. Because, like, again, like, she would be, like, so dramatic with that ring when they would go do rounds. And people would be like, bro, like, they'd say her name and they'd be like,
yeah,
not the place.
Yeah.
Not the time.
Do you think that there's some aspect of, like, badassery? Meaning, you know how it's a common thing for, like, women to like the bad boy? Like, is that a big part of it? Where they're not just that they're, because obviously if they're falling in love with a criminal, there's he's a bad boy to a degree, right?
Yeah.
But is there some element of like, that they're turned on by the piece that's like, ooh, I'm doing something bad, forbidden, you know, like, oh, this is forbidden, so it's more attractive to me.
Maybe, because every time we would ask, like, why did you do this? Like, you know better than this. Like, this isn't okay. It would just always be, I'm in love.
And so in her example, did she catch charges?
No, she just got fired.
She just got fired.
Because, again, she had no criminal actions.
Okay.
Essentially, it wasn't her phone. It was, you know, yes, what she was doing was completely against violations in every possible way. Because I, as a correction officer, or when I was a correction officer, you cannot have contact with somebody unless they're 5 years off paper.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that alone should have just told you, bro, like, not the person.
Right.
Yeah, the time, not the person.
Right. Yeah.
And it happens so much, and they all say the same thing. And I would love to know, if you fell in love with an inmate, let us know.
Yeah,
let us know what that is, because I don't understand, especially a life sentence. It's totally different if the person's going in and you've already been with them, you've already established.
Oh, yeah.
You want to believe whatever narrative they're saying, right? Because it is a story.
Right.
But what I've noticed, at least on the prison side, is they never really looked at their charges like that.
No shit.
Which was weird.
That's real weird.
Because they could read the grimy shit that was in there.
Yeah.
That's not this little, battery or whatever the fuck. Like,
Yeah.
you see the domestic violence. You see the shit that's on their file.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And you see how long they had for each one.
Right. So they're willfully trying to push that out of their mind.
Right.
To see this person as something else. Now, is there a lot of like, because I was thinking as you were saying this, like, oh, like people fall for or start relationships within their workplace. That's a common thing.
Always,
I was
yeah.
just reading an article the other day that like 50% of Gen Z would give up their job if they met what they considered to be their person at the job and it wasn't allowed. So they're like saying, the survey basically said that half of Gen Z would quit their job for love, essentially.
Oh,
and actually,
nice.
the numbers for I
don't know about us. I don't know about millennials.
Right, I know. Well, because it said something, I can't remember what it said for the overall population, like how true that is, but it was still high. It was still like 40 something or something. I want to say. I'm not sure, but it's still pretty high that people were like, yeah. And there was the article talked about like most people are like supportive of like, dude, there shouldn't be a whole lot of rules against like dating your coworkers, like because that's traditionally a huge place like where you have an opportunity to meet someone that you have enough in common with, whatever. But the question is like, was there much of that within correctional officer? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So they have a policy on it.
Okay.
That you're not allowed to date anybody that you work with.
Okay.
Or have any intimate relationship with them. And that's purposeful because let's say me and you are working a pod together and we're going to go do a round and we're dating.
Yeah.
And the inmate says the colorful shit.
Okay. Yeah.
That they normally do.
Right.
And you not react to that.
Right.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
Right? Because emotions in there, especially if I'm being assaulted and we're in a relationship, are going to take away how you respond.
Yeah.
So they don't want you to do that. Does it happen?
Yeah.
All the time.
And
when you rank up, they're called badge bunnies because they want to come after you because of your rank.
Oh.
So people will throw themselves at you. When I was ranking up, oh my gosh.
You were getting lots of proposals
thrown. And I'm not trying to be like, I'm the greatest good looking person in the world.
You're a good looking girl.
Yeah, but I'm happily married at that point in my life. You know what I mean? I don't want shit from these motherfuckers, especially my coworkers.
Yeah.
Like, hell no, I know too much.
So they're like, what is it called? They're like groupies almost in a way?
Yes. 100%.
They're turned on by like
100%.
your rank?
Yes. The rank and the power, right?
Yeah.
Because especially if you're a captain over investigations, sneaky shit, all the grime and grit, know all this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's hot.
Yeah.
And it's all.
Well, that's true for any job.
It is, though, like, because managers or like.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yeah.
Once you could be a line worker with somebody, and then once you manage her, they're like, ooh, you're so much hotter.
Yeah.
Your hot scale went the fuck up.
I've pulled off of being a manager.
That's what I'm saying. And how did they throw themselves?
Yeah, like, I mean, they didn't necessarily.
Not like they're all at your feet, but I'm just saying, it's not hard.
Oh, well, they didn't, what I was going to say, mention that part of the attraction until it was later on. Like this particular girl I'm thinking of, we ended up dating, but like, yeah, she was like a busser or a hostess or something, and I was a manager, and yeah, she was later, like, because we did end up having a real relationship, she was like, oh, that was part of it for me, and I was like, oh, okay.
Like, where we would have to write into our boss and declare if you were thinking of going on a date with somebody you work with.
But wouldn't that be snitching yourself out because it's against the rules?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so why would anyone fucking...
Nobody does.
Yeah, okay.
Like, unless you're a higher rank. Because now if you're a supervisor over these people, that's where you get fired. You could get in so much trouble.
Yeah.
And so, no, like, I can't, even when I was, like, in that role, I couldn't accept any, like, birthday gifts or cards or, like, anything of monetary from anyone. So, like, work functions were fucking weird, bro. Like, they would collectively have birthday parties, but it would be, like, for the entire area of that month. So, like, everybody with April birthdays would be having a birthday celebration.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? It was never individualized.
Right.
It couldn't be.
Right.
Because if somebody reported you, you'd be in violation.
So did you guys not hang out outside of work like because of that? Like just on like
When I
social
started
friendship.
getting up in rank,
Yeah.
that's when I stopped.
Okay.
So I used to be in carpools. I used to be like, as an officer, I would be with my peers just like everybody else, you know?
Right.
And then when I became a sergeant, it was like, you can kind of do that, but you're getting to a leadership role,
Mm-hmm.
but you're still teetering because you don't have supervisory, like anything over anyone.
Gotcha.
I can't make your schedule. I can't give you days off. I can't give you holidays. I can't do shit.
Okay.
Can't do anything payroll,
Yeah.
nothing. But when I made a lieutenant, that was different.
Then you
Then it was game on,
back.
done.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be seen with anyone. No accusations at all, because that could happen too.
Oh, okay.
You could be out somewhere and somebody would be like, blah, blah, blah.
They
Did
were
what?
hands.
They were, yeah. And some people would take pictures
Oh, fuck no.
and send it in. And that was part of my job at one point, that I'm investigating that they're, inappropriate relationships
Right. Now,
with
okay.
grown ass adults.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the term, as I've become more of an adult, like the definition of the term adult
Is very,
yeah, I'm like, okay.
like, essentially the pool of people you could date. You can't date the cops
Yeah.
and you can't date the inmates,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah.
But then they all do.
Was there other like law enforcement, like broader law enforcement groups that you saw people go to, or you yourself would go to, for that kind of like relatability of like, oh, this person's also in law enforcement, but at least it's not against the rules? Meaning, like is there a lot of scenarios where like a sheriff's deputy dates like a correctional officer? Or I'm thinking specifically of this dude that like I know of, who was it was not dating, they were just hooking up, but like he was a cop and she was a dispatch person.
Yeah, it's essentially the same as long as they don't work in the same prison.
Yeah. Okay.
So you could still be a correctional officer and a lieutenant.
Right.
You cannot be at the same facility. So one could be working up north, one could be down south, and that's what happens a lot.
Okay.
Is that the married couples will start ranking up together, but in different spots of the state.
Gotcha.
And then,
Make it work above board, like
yeah. A lot of law enforcement, a lot of people were with people that were patrol cops or different jobs in the prison, because like there's transportation that isn't actually in the prison. So you could date anybody that's not in your prison.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, what about, this is different, but what about, it popped in my head when we were talking about all this. What about like gay relationships? And this could be for either side, the female side or the male side. I know most of your experience was working with the male prisoners. Is that right? Okay. So like, what about that? Say there's two dudes that are both serving long-term sentences or life sentences, and they're like, so much of what we see is like the cliche, like sex assault, rapey kind of like dominance based stuff. Are there any like, I don't want to say wholesome, but you know what I mean, like wholesomer, like literal two men who love each other and want to be together stuff, and like talk about that? Is that,
So they do, they fall in love,
yeah,
and that was not allowed
okay,
at all. Just because, again, the emotional part, the physical part, it's not allowed.
yeah,
So you could fall in love, but as soon as they found out, they would separate.
send one of you to a different facility or a different pod or something like that. Damn,
And especially if you didn't tell them right away,
they'd be,
then it would
more
be
mad
even
about
worse.
it? Okay.
Like, so if you're the staff member falling in love with another staff member,
Yeah.
they have a little bit of leniency with that.
Okay.
But the inmates with each other,
Yeah. They're pissed off about it if you try to.
not even like pissed, but they're just like, we got to find placement for you and move you.
Right. Huh.
And I think it's more of the paperwork part of that, of like,
Right.
I'm pissed off, I have to deal with this.
Okay.
There's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
Your pre-administrator would have known that.
Yeah, right.
She would have had to fill out a whole fucking pamphlet on herself.
Wow.
Fuck.
And is that mostly because of the sexual aspect? Where like why is that a thing? I mean, that's where my mind goes, is that they're like, well, because we don't want inmates having sex for disease transmission, for just so many reasons.
And the victimization
And the
part of it. That's the huge part to it.
Okay.
Is that you are in charge of this living, breathing person. The well-being of this person.
Yeah.
Could they be in love? Absolutely.
Right.
Is that the case sometimes? No.
Right.
Being pimped out is a real thing.
Yeah.
You know, they will have and say you will do sexual stuff, and that's your job.
And that's it. Wow.
And it's like, it's not fair that that happens. It's horrible when it happens.
Yeah.
You can feel how scared the inmate is when that happens.
Yeah.
Um, because a lot of them, at least in this case, was not identifying as gay, bisexual, or anything LGBT. They were straight.
Right. Yeah.
And because of their affiliation, because of whatever was going on in the prison system, money will make money, like no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's a money maker.
Right. Okay.
And that's where you just don't do this.
Yeah.
You don't bring that, you don't do that, nothing.
Yeah.
Like even with visitation, with the person that you're with, you can only give a quick peck and you can hold hands.
Okay.
But that's it.
Okay.
So even with that, like, it's not encouraged. It's not something, it's like a quick hi and then sit your ass down.
Yeah. Now, with on that point, so was there ever conjugal visits where you were?
No.
Okay.
In this state, I don't believe we ever had conjugal visits here.
But it was a thing at one point back in the day or something.
There's still prisons outside of here that have conjugal visits.
And are you at all educated on how they work?
No.
Okay.
I am so confused by them. Like, one, bro, I don't want to be the one to clean those areas.
Right, right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And then the other part is like, what sense does that fucking make?
Yeah. I mean, that's, we can't lose sight of like the punitive aspect of incarceration. Like,
Exactly.
There's a reason that it's fucking shitty as a ideally deterrent. Now, I can't, because I'm not quite educated enough on it, like get into the politics of like, oh, like rehabilitation versus punitive, and how much of which should be which in the criminal justice system. You know, that's a, I feel like, ongoing forever argument. But setting that argument aside, like there is a necessary, in my opinion, like level of shitty that this is supposed to be, you know.
Yeah.
As deterrent.
I would say consequences.
There you go.
That you have to suffer some consequences of freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't get to vote. You don't get to carry a gun.
Right.
But none of that fucking matters when you're incarcerated.
Right.
So it's like, even where I was, it just didn't make sense because you're not being punished for your time, like your crime. You're just doing your time.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like, you're supposed to come up with how to manage these people when there's nothing to take. What do you take from them?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
There's no consequences. So now just keep giving. And that's how that state was running. Like, let's keep giving to the inmates. Let's keep giving to the inmates because they didn't want idle time. I get that.
Yeah.
But is it necessary to fucking ruin your whole facility and cause more chaos to send 16 outside of the yard so that way they could go play in a yard?
Yeah. Right. And that had to do with staffing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of the things center around staffing.
Right.
If you don't have the staffing, you can't run programs. If you don't have a GED teacher, you're not getting a GED.
Right. Well, I think so much of it kind of depends on, and should rightfully depend on, like how much time you're serving.
Yes.
You know,
I think that the minimum centers had it so well for so long, and then it turned to what it did. They had a lot of programming. They had a lot of things that, like, for instance, they had drug and alcohol programming.
Yeah.
And in that, you had to register for it 6 months in advance to even be considered.
Yeah.
And the list was long. And this is back in 2011.
Okay.
So the inmate would be like, I want to do this. This is what I've been doing. I need to get programming because I have this and this. And at a minimum R, they had way more freedom. They had the keys to their rooms. They had really good jobs.
Okay.
They had a lot of freedom in that aspect.
Yeah.
But plus the programming part. And then it turned into, we would write them up for whatever they did. And then they would have to wait 6 more months for that to even come on the list. So you'd be kicked out of the facility and you'd be a year behind everybody else in the program. Because once that program starts, it's a year program. So it's not like you could come mid-program and start, your year starts.
Okay.
So when you left, your year or your 6 months starts before you could reapply.
Okay.
And you have parameters of like what you have to do before you could even come back.
Yeah.
And I personally think that was a great deterrent because a lot of people couldn't go for parole unless they had drug and alcohol classes successfully completed.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like it's just a resource.
Right.
Not saying that it's a save all, but it was a good thing that was really trying to help.
Yeah.
And then it turned into the change in classification, and inmates were just coming in, not having to work for being at a minimum center.
Gotcha.
So you're coming straight from the jail.
Right.
Which is probably shit. Most of the jails and counties are shit.
Yeah.
And now you're at this fucking dorm.
Right.
Outdoors.
Yeah.
Beautiful fucking mountain terrain around you,
yeah.
right? Like, you have your key. You're like, all right, this is a lot of freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you cannot enjoy it because you've never seen what it's like.
Yeah.
Not saying you have to go to those prisons, but I'm just saying, like, it changed so much with classification when they got rid of ADSEG that everybody was being pushed to the lower levels.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you started seeing the fighting, the sexual assaults, batteries happening.
Okay. When you say everybody was being pushed to the lower levels, what do you mean?
So like through the system of classification, you have the highest level is 5.
Oh, gotcha.
Or down to a minimum R.
Oh, okay.
To house somebody at a level 5 is extremely expensive.
Oh, okay.
And taxing because of staffing, the facilities layout, everything.
Yeah.
It's a lot more.
Yeah.
So they would try to reclassify offenders to do lower sentences or do lower classifications to the lowest.
Gotcha.
So at one point, let's say, in order to be at a minimum R, you had to be under 16 points.
Mm.
And each point is calculated individually by the person, by your crime, your affiliations. A lot goes into that.
Yeah.
So when they did that, they dropped it down and made it more like if you had 18 points.
Gotcha.
If you had 19 points. Like, so it would keep going up and pushing people through the system
Gotcha.
that wasn't ready. So you'd have a medium offender who's been running the yard at a medium rushing down to a minimum R.
Okay.
And now you give him a fucking truck.
Yeah.
And you're all here, you're working the farm.
Right.
Let's trust you.
Yeah.
And then guess what you got? Runners.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
Fucking gone, bitches.
Wow. All right. I'm going to pull us back a little bit to our topic. When you have programming and you have outside people coming in to teach programming, whether it's drug stuff or like where I was in a program pod for a long time, which you know, but the listener might not know. And so they had one of the local universities, like their graduate students would be the ones coming in to teach programming. Oftentimes, some of the guys, like I had a Spanish class that I would do with the Spanish-speaking inmates were learning English while simultaneously some of the gringos were learning Spanish, all in this one class. That guy, he was a teacher that had been with the program for a long time. He was not. But mostly they were like 20-somethings, late 20-somethings, maybe-ish, that were like university graduate students. The question is, for your experience and what you saw, was there the same rate of like inmate love happening with those people as there was with like correctional officers themselves?
I think it was pretty equal.
No.
Honestly. Especially with the programming ones, because they know you on a very deep level.
Yeah.
Like those classes, they called them like hot seats.
Mm-hmm.
And the inmate would sit there in front of everybody. Like in that pod, they'd be in a circle and they would tell what their crime was and what they did. And the facilitator of that would be like the counselor.
Yeah.
Or the whatever they were. I can't remember. But in this particular case, this was a sex offender treatment therapist. And she, for whatever reason, lost her license to practice in the state.
Mm.
But they don't know that because they check it annually.
Oh, shit.
So you have to just put in your credentials, right? Like, I'm still good to teach. I'm still good to do this. No different than any certification you carry.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, this person didn't have it anymore. We didn't know this yet. So I'm working down at the greenhouse, and this therapist is doing her rounds, which is no different than normal days. And I see her go up to one of these sex offenders and hug him, and then they kiss on each other's cheeks.
Whoa.
And I legit am like drinking coffee, waking up in the fucking morning, and I'm looking, and I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah.
So there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I didn't see that. I'm like getting on the fucking computer. I'm like,
Right.
oh, hell no, that didn't happen. I'm losing it.
Yeah, it's early.
That would never fucking happen, that clear as day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? I look and it's all over the fucking thing.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the fuck? What do I do? I'm an officer.
Yeah.
So I call my shift commander. I'm like, hey, I got this situation down here. And they thought that I was fucking around.
Because it was
Because that fucking, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look at the time. Look at the cameras. Like, it's no joke. And they saw it and they immediately went down there and arrested her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it came out that she lost her certification
Right.
to do that. And they were like, what the fuck? And so, yeah.
Wow. And so when they arrested her, her charges were...
At that time,
Yeah, like, do you remember what they charged her with?
I don't remember. I just remember them parading her.
Yeah.
I'm like, she was crying.
I'm sure she was.
She's like, what about my office? I have pictures.
Yeah.
Also,
Your family?
your family?
Yeah.
I was like,
Wow.
dude. And it was wild.
Yeah.
And it can happen like that. And then there's times where they're sleeping with the inmate. And there's times like they're bringing stuff in. It doesn't,
Yeah.
I've seen it all.
And it's also seemingly like with all of the different ways, because I was kind of curious. I'm like, because in my example, my experience, like these people were kind of better than thou, somewhat snooty. I mean, you have to be like grounded enough of a person to be able to take on that whatever job, or whether it was I think it maybe internship. I don't know how they were formatting it for those,
Like how they got into those jobs.
yeah, how those.
So like for us, they would already have to be a therapist for sex, at least for
Right.
this part, right?
Yeah.
Was sex offender treatment.
Okay, yeah.
So that is what their specialty is.
Right.
So they're a behavioral health specialist. Like
Yeah.
they're there to do that
Okay.
in that capacity. Now, is that their first time? Some of them.
Okay, yeah.
Some of them not. It just more in your leadership roles were the ones that have been in doing it for a long time.
Gotcha.
But most of the time you'd see a brand new 20-something-year-old coming in as a therapist and you're like, she's done.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Like it's not gonna last.
Right.
And it didn't.
No.
And it wasn't just the girls, it was also the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't get it.
It takes a certain person to be able to go into those environments and like hold your own, so to speak, and hold those boundaries and know the ways in which the relationships can turn and all that. But like with the ones that were coming into this particular jail, they all kind of had this air of, and who knows, I would very likely not know if they were hooking up with one of the inmates or something.
Yeah.
But
They don't parade it around.
Yeah, right. They're purposely trying to hide it because they're doing
It's
something
just
they're
usually
not
that
supposed
weird
to.
feeling. You're like,
Yeah.
why is he in your unit all the time? Or
Right.
why is he always in talking to you all the time?
Right. Do lawyers ever do it with their with an inmate? Meaning, isn't there some level of like privacy that a lawyer gets with an inmate that like doesn't allow for recordings or something?
So they're not allowed to be monitored.
Mm-hmm.
But are they recorded? Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
But do you not listen to it? Sure.
Yeah.
Is the right answer, I guess.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like, I don't know if you know this, but like if you have something on your record,
Okay.
and let's say you get it expunged.
Yeah.
You still see it, and all it says up on there on the top, it says expunged.
Oh yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
And everything else, all the little details written about there are still fucking there.
Yeah.
So most people would be like, oh, I got that expunged, it's off my record. I'm like,
No, it's not.
no, it's never.
Not for law enforcement. It would be, so I actually try to go through that process, and then we're getting off topic, but I try to go through that process, and I say try because I ended up sort of succeeding, but also sort of giving up. Like I got the judge to order one of my felonies
concurrent,
concealed, like whatever, off my record, but it was then my responsibility after the judge made that order to go and tell every single possible agency, halfway house, rehab, anybody and everybody that would know about that felony. Here's this order. You have to take it out of your system. And I was like,
Oh,
oh,
nice.
that's, it was just too extensive for me to go through to all those people and all that stuff. But so conceptually, if you get a charge sealed, then law enforcement side, your side of things would still have, like you said, the access to it. But like a internet thing that like does the search should not. You know what I mean, where they're like
Yeah.
search a criminal record for someone, that should not have it. Other civilian quote unquote agencies or companies or organizations should not have it after it's sealed. But again, it's your responsibility to go show them that court order saying that they have to remove it from their system. And so there's too many holes. I was like, and I had another felony on there, and
Yeah,
other
like,
felonies on my
yeah.
arrest record. So I'm like,
substitute each other. It's
this
like,
is not
dude,
gonna
you already know about one.
yeah. I'm like, this isn't going to really help my life, which I wish I would have kind of realized that after I put in so much money and effort, and because I wasn't using a lawyer. And so like, it just,
It's a lot of money
yeah.
just for it to say in red.
Right. Just
sealed and expunged.
Saying different. Yeah, exactly.
Well, my friends, we talked a little bit about prison love and what dating life is for someone in recovery. Next episode, we're going to dive pretty deep into this world of like who we were and what it was like for us going through the life we used to be in.
Yeah.
And each episode you guys are going to hear is raw footage of how we experience these experiences. And it's not to minimize anybody that's currently doing this, on their journey with this. We really support our law enforcement, our correctional officers. We really are rooting for the people out there that are trying to be in recovery, get sobriety. We want you guys to succeed. So come back and talk to us, our friends.
Yes, and I think that this is maybe also a good point at which to say we also are. I mean, that's the reason for the name of the podcast, right? Unlikely Connections.
Absolutely.
Because I'm hearing you say like, oh, we support our law enforcement or whatever. And in my head, I'm going, no, we fucking don't. Fuck those dudes. And fuck the police,
Never.
And like,
Never.
it's both. It's just
both.
like, if you are a person who can handle the fact that it's fucking both,
Yep.
then you're in the right spot, because it's both sides of it. It's there's been times when Steph has said like, oh, like she'll be telling a story and like she'll make sure to say like, oh, I didn't want to get accused of being like an inmate lover, know, and that puts little spikes up for me where I'm like, oh, I don't like that, and then vice versa. I just said what I said, and you're like, I don't love that, dude. And you're just gonna hate somebody because they're law enforcement. So it's not. Quick edit on that is I don't hate anybody because of their job, but so it's both. We support both sides of things, and we are gaining and growing an understanding of both sides of things in order to fucking break down some of the bullshit that happens from just blind hatred in both directions.
Yeah.
Blind hatred of law enforcement, blind hatred of like addicts and people with criminal records, because that's what keeps us fucking stuck. That's
why we're Unlikely Connection here.
Exactly. So come along and follow us, and to Steph's point, we're gonna be raw and honest, and hopefully, ideally, like helping.
Yeah.
At the very least, enlightening people as to like what the truth of like some of the folks involved in this.
Right. It's knowing about your community. So our friends, we will talk soon.
Yes.
Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.
Yeah.